Hello and welcome back to Ticker Ventures. We've got one of Australia's most successful and passionate entrepreneurs joining us every episode to give another entrepreneur some thoughts, ideas, and extra focus. Fred Schebesta is the founder of Finder.com and joins us every week. Mr. Schebesta, how are you? Great to see you again.
Welcome back.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I took a few weeks off. I was working the tennis, the Australian Open, but this is my favourite chat. And I don't say that with any sort of fib at all. I love chatting with you and talking with the entrepreneurs. How's the start of your year been so far? We're a month and a bit in, all going well?
I love it. 2021 is just like so exciting. It's booming.
Booming. I like it. Everything in your life is booming, and that's the way we like it, mate. Let's get into it. Our guest for this week is Maggie Palmer, founder of Pep Talk Her. She's on a mission of closing the gender pay gap through a community of 25,000 people and corporate in-house programming. Maggie is expanding with more services and wants to reach more people. Welcome, Maggie, in to our show here, Ticker Ventures. How are you today?
I'm great. Nice to be with you. Thanks for hosting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so maybe for Fred, we've introduced you briefly there, but give us a bit of a background. What's the issue? What are the challenges right now that we need to know about?
Right, so I founded Pep Talk Her with the mission to close the gender pay gap and get 50-50 women into leadership in corporate America, where I'm normally based in New York City. And we also have a lot of clients here in Australia, where I'm originally from, hence my accent. So one of the challenges, Fred, that I was keen to chat to you about is, we've got about 60,000 professional women around the world using our app, engaging with our online products, but I want to increase our web traffic. We're a self-funded, bootstrapped business, so I don't have a CMO. We've got a small team. There's sort of 5 of us just trying to get that web traffic. I'd like to fourfold our web traffic this year. That's the goal. So I'd love your help with that.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think the first thing, Maggie, is that you do have a CMO. That's you.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's step one, right? So, taking responsibility and being clear about who's going to drive this web traffic, I think is important. And I think, one of the things when you talk about web traffic, I always worry with that. And, it's really good to just, get lots of traffic and things like that. But I think what's really important is actually just to get really the quality traffic that you're looking for.
Right.
So getting, a little like more traffic that you actually want, I think is better than getting lots and lots of traffic, because there's lots of ways to get lots of traffic, and that's a challenge, right? So I think let's talk about and unpack that problem. What's the best, most incredible piece of content that you have that you could share to your target audience?
Ooh, good question. So we have 2. One of them is the 5-day challenge. It's a free 5-day know your worth challenge. So it takes you through 5 minutes a day for 5 days to help you understand your value so that you can best negotiate and advocate for yourself. So it's a toss up between that, and we also have a pay raise cheat. So I think it'd be one of the 2 of those.
Awesome. What about, do you have, as an idea, so I'm very creative today. Feeling the juices flowing today. But what if you had if you were to create a ranking role, and publish that, and maybe come back to Ticker and say, can we come on the show and tell about our pay from Pep Talker, and trying to get an asset that you start to talk about, and that will start to bring in traffic. That's sort of the beginning point. I think that's about, from a content perspective, are really places where people can then take an action. What am I going to do once I get there? Whereas I think to get more people in, you need to create assets to answer questions that people have a burning desire for. So, how much should I be paid as a senior engineer, health company, and I'm doing a DevOps role? That's a great question. And I think it's a question everyone, you go to certain sites for and you're trying to get these answers for, but that could be a great place for you to own. And I think that's also traffic.
Interesting. So building that one point of truth kind of where people can input what they're getting paid now and sort of start to have that transparent conversation.
Yeah, promote it, and then you track it over the years. Then you create an index of pay. How far away is the gap? I'm, and that's the kind of things people come back for. That's the things people talk about and write about and link to on the internet. I think, it's that kind of like system. I think, and I think I talk about this a lot in my course as well, which I just published on my site. But it's really creating that wheel of content that keeps bringing people back.
Maggie, I'll just jump in just for a moment. What sort of feedback do you receive from your people, your community? What are you hearing from them?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest challenges that our community face is around negotiation, knowing how to negotiate. Like, for example, can you negotiate right now in the middle of a pandemic? The second thing is imposter syndrome. That's a huge challenge that we hear from our community of women around the world. But, in terms of results, so we have a free app that people can download. It's kind of like your personal brag book. It lets you track your successes so that you can then take that data into a pay raise conversation. So in terms of results of using app product, going through the course itself, like we've had people get $5 an hour as a raise, all the way through to one woman who got an $84,000 raise. So we know that the system works. We just want more people into the system, more people going through the 5-day challenge using the app so that we can get those results, because impact is really important to me, and we know that financial freedom is such an amazing thing that we can actually teach people to get towards that if they actually advocate for themselves and negotiate their salary. Definitely.
What do you think, Fred?
I think it's great. I think the idea of that quiz, I think the app, and it's amazing. It's just what incredible impact. I think what I'm trying to submit to you is to try and to get website traffic. You can just buy website traffic if you want, but the question I think I'm trying to challenge you on is why? Why should I bother going to your website? Now, obviously, your core business, you could, obviously promote it and, buy keywords and things like that. And that's one form. I think that's not quite what you were talking about, but I think we're talking about people naturally coming to your website. And then I think the other thing is, so the next step would be to try and find some ongoing dialogue that you can have. Obviously, you've got that in the app, which is great. And can you build an email list and sort of start to communicate, and then you can put web links in that, and people would come back again. So I think they're the kind of little engines to start with. There's like a germination there, and then to many millions of visits.
What's going through your mind, Maggie?
No, I think you're quite right. It's about finding that flywheel of whether it's a report or that database of salaries, because we have a lot of that data. We've just never published it publicly. And so perhaps that's what we need to do. And I really appreciate you challenging me on that, Fred. And I think that that's something that could be really helpful. Yeah, I mean, we'd love to get to the millions of views point, only because obviously, and this as well, Fred, right? The more traffic you have, the more impact you can have through your mission. And then, of course, the more the business grows, and then we can do cooler stuff as a business. And because we're bootstrapped, I think it's always that balance of growth versus investing in the traffic. But I do need to reframe it and think of myself as the CMO, as well as the CEO. And so I really appreciate that advice.
In terms of challenges, Fred, you go, and then I'll ask after you. Go for it.
What's the number one metric you're trying to move in the next 90 days?
The next 90 days. So we have International Women's Day is coming up in around 3 weeks from now on the 8th of March. And so on that day, we're actually doing a new launch of a new product, which is a new 5-day challenge that we're rolling out. And so happy to give the Ticker viewers first access to that. So if you can go to peptalkher.com/challenge, you can sign up for that. So I think that's really our focus, is just around that International Women's Day impact, making sure that we're a thought leader in this space, in their gender equality, women in leadership and equal pay space, particularly around key news events like International Women's Day. So that's really where all of our efforts go at the moment. And of course, we've got a lot of corporate clients that are bringing us in for workshops and speaking. So keeping all those balls in the air. But I think, really establishing ourselves and reiterating the fact that we are global experts on this topic and we do have proprietary data and we do have a solution to help. We really want to be seen as the go-to voice around International Women's Day.
What do you reckon? How's that sound, Fred?
Well, I think new products and innovation are amazing, and they can be a source of power and a source of traffic for any business. You get growth from new. I think that the challenge I could imagine you're probably experiencing right now, Maggie, is prioritization of the new versus the current, and that's not how are you sort of handling that?
I'm getting better at delegation. I'm bringing on more people into our team, and we're putting better processes in place so that we're quite clear on the roadmap of where we're going. It's not something that's come naturally to me, honestly, as an entrepreneur. So I've had to work really hard at that over the last 6 to 12 months, putting those structures in place and giving people autonomy to execute on what we've decided as a team. So that's really been my focus as a leader. And so I'm hoping that we're going to reap the benefits of that going forward, that we have planned it out. These are the email sequences we need to build. These are the products we're launching, who's responsible for what, and then go forth and prosper and do it, So it's a challenge. I'm not sure if you found that as a leader as well, Fred, like delegation and execution and having the vision and still keeping the wheels turning as a business as well.
Yeah, it's 100%, and I think you're nailing the core challenge. I think it's a bit like one of those musicians that plays the drums, the guitar, the cymbals, with one of those contraptions all at the same time hooked up to yourself. And that's kind of like that real founder feeling. Totally. And
go, Fred. Keep going.
I think it's about at its core, Maggie, what's really the ultimate question I think you're ultimately responsible for at any particular moment is what is the number one priority in the organization, individual, and obviously for yourself. And I think that question is, that's really what you're asking. And I think I wish you the best of luck with mastering that.
So why don't we, Maggie, just to finish, because it'd be great to have you back on and, put a bow on this, bring you back on in 6 months, whatever it might be. Maybe what's the biggest challenge, or Fred, for you? What would you like to see over the next 6 months as a bit of a challenge, some homework to throw out there? Then we can see how it goes and bring you guys back on in a period of time. What's the one thing you'd like to maybe focus on and see?
Well, I think, if we're going to talk about organic traffic and growing your website traffic, I'd like to see one thing live on the site that gives people a reason to come and a reason to come back.
Cool.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. And, choose to challenge is the theme for International Women's Day this year. So you've just chosen to challenge me, Fred. Thank you. I'm going to take that on board. And let's chat again in a couple of months and I'll report back with my homework completed.
That's the first homework project I've thrown out. So I think we should do that, Fred, each week.
Yeah. Well, I think it's at a target. The question maybe is how many people are going to, interact with this piece of content. That's the other thing.
Yeah, putting some metrics around that. Okay, so let me go back. I'm going to ruminate on it. I'm going to report back to the two of you, and then we'll do another live session in a few months and share with the audience the results.
Totally. I love that. We can put it together, package it all up. Awesome stuff. Maggie, for now, where can we learn a bit more? Where can we head to see what you're up to?
Absolutely. So we're on Instagram at PepTalkHer, Her, and then also if you want to jump in and take part in the 5-day Know Your Worth challenge, it's free, peptalkher.com/challenge.
I'm going to jump on there right now. Fred, if you've got a minute, I reckon you should do it as well. Guys, thank you so much. We'll report back. Homework accepted. We'll see what happens in a few months. Let's talk soon, okay?
Thank you.
Good stuff. Enjoy your day.
Thanks so much.
That's Tick Adventures wrapped up. Again, first homework challenge done and dusted. We will report back and see how Maggie Palmer is going. Chat soon, guys. See you soon.
Thanks, team. See ya.